close your eyes, take a slow, gentle breath, and listen. Can you feel it? That soft hum just beneath your skin. Not a thought, not a word, but a pulse. A rhythm, ancient and familiar, echoing like a seashell held to your ear. This is not your imagination, Cancer. This is memory, but not the kind you made in this lifetime. No, this is the memory you were born with. Memory made of water, of womb, of time. There's something within you, older than your name, older than this lifetime. It lives in your blood, in your dreams, in the ache you feel when you're homesick, for a place you've never been, because you carry more than your story. You carry a lineage, a tide of souls that came before you, grandmothers whose names you never knew, fathers who watched stars to pray, mothers who bled quietly so you could one day live loudly. And now, they speak to you, in whispers, in feelings that don't belong to any moment, but live anyway inside your chest. That sense of déjà vu, that sudden pull toward the moonlight, that urge to cry at the sound of violins, they're all messages, echoes, imprints, left by those who came before you, not to haunt you, but to bless you, because in you, Cancer, they live again. Their hopes breathe through your lungs. Their prayers ride on your heartbeat. Their unfinished songs hum softly through your emotions. You are the memory keeper, the soul they entrusted with the sacred thread. And today, we follow that thread, through the waters of your lineage, back to the ones who dreamed you into being, back to the truth that you are never alone, not even in silence, not even in sorrow, not even when you don't understand why you feel so much. Welcome to the ancestral waters. You were always meant to return here. Not all inheritances are made of gold or land. Some are made of silence. Some of tears that were never cried. And some are made of emotions passed down like lullabies no one remembers singing. Cancer, you may find yourself overwhelmed sometimes, not by what's happening around you, but by what's stirring inside you. Sudden waves of grief, a tenderness that feels misplaced, or fears you can't explain. You wonder, why do I feel so much, so deeply, so suddenly? And the truth is, some of what you feel isn't even yours. It belongs to someone who came before you, a mother who learned to swallow her sadness so her children wouldn't drown in it, a grandfather who carried the shame of war in silence, never telling anyone, a sister who had no voice and turned her screams inward. And now their echoes live in you, not as a burden, but as a torch, because your soul was brave enough to carry what others could not heal. You may find yourself weeping for reasons you can't name, yearning for things you've never lost. You may find that your anger is ancestral, your longing inherited, even your dreams, those strange, symbolic, watery dreams, may be the whispers of their unfinished hopes. Cancer, you are the emotional translator of your lineage, the one who feels what no one else dared to feel, the one who listens to emotions that were long buried but never forgotten. You are the deep ocean where memory hides. You are the warm shore where their hearts finally rest. And while this may seem heavy, there is power here, because when you feel these emotions fully, with awareness, with compassion, with grace, you become the healer your lineage has been waiting for. They could not cry, so you though. They could not speak, so you whisper their truths in your poetry, your art, your quiet strength. They could not rest, so you light a candle for them in your heart. This is sacred work. You are not too sensitive. You are not too emotional. You are tuned in to something deeper, older, wiser. You are the pulse of their dreams, the rhythm of their healing. Let the emotions rise. Don't be afraid. You are not breaking. You are remembering. And in that remembering, you are rewriting the story. As we shuffle the cards with reverence, two emerge, almost like they were waiting. 6 of Cups and the Moon. Cancer, this isn't coincidence. This is a calling. The 6 of Cups appears like a tender ghost, not to haunt you, but to remind you of innocence, of joy, of moments you may not remember with your mind, but your soul never forgot. It is the card of childhood, of nostalgia, of emotional purity, and sometimes of wounds left unspoken. It speaks of connections that transcend time, of a deep longing to return to a feeling once felt and never truly found again. Maybe Cancer, you've been craving that return, to simpler days, to a version of yourself that felt a whole, soft, open-hearted. Before the world asked you to grow up, before you learned that loving deeply can hurt, before you hid your softness to survive, the moon rises beside it like a dream half remembered. Its light is silver and strange, guiding you not with logic, but with intuition, with dreams, with shadows. This card is a mirror, not for your face, but for your fears. It reflects what's hidden, what's buried, what you feel in your bones, but cannot name. Together, these cards speak of ancestral memory, of the past rising not to chain you, but to free you. They whisper, look gently at what once was, so you may understand what still lives within you. There may be emotions rising now, waves you thought you'd already swum through, longing, sadness, a strange ache when you hear an old song, the taste of something familiar in a stranger's voice. Don't run from it. Lean in. These cards are not here to wound you. They are here to show you that your emotional depth is not a flaw. It is a portal, a sacred map back to your true self. And that self is layered, ancient, infinite. What have you forgotten that your soul remembers? What part of you still sings lullabies in the dark, hoping someone hears? Cancer, the 6 of Cups and the Moon do not demand answers. They ask only this: can you sit with your past without needing to fix it? Can you hold your own inner child without rushing them to heal? Can you love the parts of you that were shaped by things you never chose? You were never meant to walk this path with logic alone. You were meant to feel your way home, through water, through tears, through the moonlit whispers that guide you back, not to who you were, but to who you truly are. Cancer, you feel everything like a flood. A word, a look, a silence too long, and suddenly, your heart clenches, your chest tightens, and you're overwhelmed by an emotion you can't explain. You call it too much, but what if it's actually just enough to open a hidden door? These emotional triggers, the sudden anger, the unexpected tears, the irrational fears, they are not signs of weakness. They are sacred signals, messages from deep within your lineage, from memories buried so long ago that only your emotions remember. When you feel that pang of rejection, perhaps it's not just you being rejected. Perhaps it's the voice of your great-grandmother, who was never allowed to speak her truth. When you panic at abandonment, maybe it's a child's cry passed down, a child who waited and waited, but no one came. Every trigger is an echo. And you, dear Cancer, are the one brave enough to listen. You are the emotional detective of your bloodline. You trace the ache, not to wallow, but to understand. Why do I react this way? Whose pain am I holding? What story is this emotion trying to tell me? These questions are not for the mind. They are for the heart. And your heart, Cancer, is vast enough to hold them. So the next time your emotions rise, like a tide too strong to swim through, pause, listen, feel without judgment. Ask not, "What is wrong with me?" but "What is this showing me?" Because that sting of shame, it might not be yours. That storm of grief, it might belong to someone who could never cry. That deep loneliness, it may be a memory from a soul you never met, but carry within you. This is not a burden. This is an invitation. You are not just healing yourself. You are healing them through your willingness to feel what they never could. And with every tear that falls, with every breath you take through the panic, you are turning the key, unlocking the door, setting them free. Cancer, your triggers are not betrayals. They are guides. Sacred guides dressed as pain, leading you into truth. And when you embrace them, not with resistance, but with reverence, you become the bridge, the one who ends the cycle, the one who finally brings the emotion home. Cancer, you know things you were never taught. You feel things before they happen. You walk into a room, and without a word spoken, you already know who's hurting. People call it a gut feeling. But for you, it's deeper, older. It comes from a place beyond logic, beyond science, beyond this lifetime. This is your gift. But even more, this is your inheritance. You see, your intuition isn't just yours. It's a river flowing through generations, a sacred thread passed from grandmother to mother to child, woven into your DNA, like a quiet, humming melody only you can hear. And you, Cancer, with your watery, moon-kissed soul, were chosen to carry it. That moment you feel uneasy around someone without knowing why, that's not paranoia. That's protection. That pull in your heart to call someone out of the blue, that's not coincidence. That's connection. That deep knowing you've had since childhood. The one that made you feel different, too sensitive, too much, was never a flaw. It was the voice of every woman who came before you, whispering their wisdom into your bones. They survived what they could. They endured what they had to. But you get to listen. You get to honor their whispers with your choices, with your trust in what cannot be seen. There will be moments when the world gaslights your gifts. When people say, "You're overreacting, you're imagining things, you're too emotional." And yet, your inner knowing never lies, because it doesn't just belong to you. It belongs to every soul who held silence, so you could speak. Cancer, you are not a sponge. You are a mirror made of water, reflecting, absorbing, and purifying what others cannot carry. Your intuition is a compass, not to lead you to success or fame, but to lead you to truth, to alignment, to remembering. You are the descendant of seers, dreamers, and healers. And even if they weren't named as such, they lived through their hearts, just like you. So the next time you feel something in your spirit, before your brain can catch up, pause, breathe, and say, "I trust what I feel. I honor what I carry. I am the voice of all those who could not speak." Because you don't just sense the future, you remember the past through it, and in doing so, you become a lighthouse for your entire lineage. Cancer, you cry more than most, not just for yourself, but for others, for the pain in the world, for the sorrow you can't explain, for the beauty that pierces your heart so deeply it brings you to your knees. And how often have you been told to stop crying, to get it together, to be strong? But what if crying is strength? What if your tears are not signs of fragility, but signs of truth being felt so deeply that it spills over? You see, some souls break in silence, some souls break in rage, but yours, Cancer, breaks in water. And that's not weakness, that's sacred medicine. When you cry, you release what generations before you could not. Tears are emotional sweat, the body's way of cleansing the soul, of saying, I can't hold this anymore, and I don't have to. You are not falling apart when you cry. You are falling back into yourself, because sometimes the soul chooses to break open, not to shatter, but to breathe. Have you ever noticed what happens after a good cry? The soft clarity, the quiet peace, the way everything seems more honest? That's because every tear you shed is a veil lifted, a mask dropped, a layer of protection released, so the real you can breathe again. So don't dry your tears too quickly. Let them fall. Let them baptize you. Let them be the language your soul speaks. When words aren't enough, there is something ancient in the way you cry, Cancer. It's as if your tears speak for those who were never allowed to feel. You are the release, the river, the restoration. Even your silence, when soaked in tears, says more than 1,000 words ever could. People may not always understand. That's okay, because your tears aren't for them to understand. They're for you to honor. So the next time emotion rises up and floods your chest, don't run. Don't shame yourself. Don't harden. Instead, whisper gently, this is sacred. This is healing. I am allowed to feel this. Because when the soul chooses to break open, not with violence, but with water, something holy happens. You return home, to yourself, to truth, to tenderness. And in a world that numbs, avoids, and hides, your tears are a revolution. Cancer, you are known for your shell, that invisible armor you carry. It protects your heart, your softness, your sensitivity. It keeps the world at just enough distance so you can breathe. But here's the truth no one tells you. Your shell isn't a weakness. It's a masterpiece of emotional intelligence. You built it to survive, to preserve, to remain gentle in a world that tries to harden you. You learned how to smile through pain, how to comfort others while bleeding silently, how to hide your storms behind quiet eyes. And that, Cancer, takes more strength than most can imagine. But there comes a moment in every soul's journey when the shell becomes too tight, too rigid, too heavy. That's when you start mistaking protection for isolation. Guarding your heart becomes guarding your joy. You begin to confuse safety with loneliness. And in those moments, your shell becomes not a sanctuary, but a cage. Cancer, you weren't born to live inside walls. You were born to flow like water, to love, like the moon loves the tide, full, fierce, and without apology. Your instincts to defend are sacred, but defense is not the same as disconnection. Yes, you have been hurt. Yes, you have been misunderstood. And yes, you've carried heartbreak like a second skin. But you are not the pain. You are the healer of it. That sword you carry, the sharp words, the quick withdrawal, the silence that punishes. You learned those tools to survive. But survival isn't the same as living. There's a version of you who doesn't need the sword as often, who doesn't have to explain, justify, or prove, who feels safe being soft. And soft, my love, doesn't mean weak. It means free. The real power is knowing when to lower the shield, when to let someone see you cry, when to say, I'm not okay today, M6, when to ask for a hug without apology. It's choosing to trust your heart, even after it's been broken, to love anyway, to live anyway. Cancer, you are not here to be unbreakable. You are here to be beautifully human, to feel, to connect, to protect when needed, and to open when safe. Your shell is part of your story, but it is not your whole identity. And every time you choose softness over sharpness, every time you let someone in instead of shutting down, you rewrite the narrative. You show the world that strength and softness can coexist, that the most powerful warriors are not the ones who never cry, but the ones who know when to lay down their sword. Cancer, you have a memory, like the ocean holds salt, every drop tinged with echoes of what came before. You remember the way someone looked at you once, with tenderness. You remember the words never said, the door that didn't open, the goodbye that came too soon. And you don't just remember, you feel it, like waves that never fully retreat, like the scent of rain before it falls. Your past is not a place you visit. It's a room you live in, a gallery of moonlit moments you return to again and again, sometimes to find comfort, other times to pick at the wound. But here's the truth, Cancer. The past is a teacher, not a prison. You weren't meant to drown in memories. You were meant to learn how to sail through them. Yes, your love runs deep. Yes, the ghosts still whisper. Yes, there are songs you can't listen to without tears. But even the moon must wane, so it can rise again. You are not betraying your past by choosing peace. You are honouring it by choosing to live fully now. Let the memories visit you, but don't invite them to build a home inside your ribcage. Your heart is not a museum of sorrow. It's a temple of resilience. It beats for today. Some people were lessons. Some were gifts. Some were storms that showed you how strong your roots are. You don't have to hate them. You don't have to love them either. You simply have to release them. You see, memory is like moonlight. It illuminates, yes, but it can also cast shadows. You must learn to walk with both, to dance under the nostalgia without getting lost in its rhythm. Ask yourself, does this memory nourish me, or does it drain me? Am I revisiting it for healing, or to reopen the wound? There is power in your reflection, but there is freedom in your forward motion. Cancer, you will always be a keeper of stories. That's your gift. But don't forget, you're still writing yours. Don't get stuck rereading old chapters when life is offering you blank pages. Tonight, as you stand beneath your moon, whisper to the past, "Thank you. I carry your lessons, but I do not carry your weight." Then turn toward the horizon, toward new laughter, new love, new memories that haven't been written yet. The tide is shifting. It's time to swim forward. Cancer, while the world praises logic, plans, and facts laid out in neat columns, you've always followed something softer, something deeper, something that doesn't shout, but whispers from within. Your intuition. It's not a skill. It's not a trick. It's your birthright. You were born under the sign of the moon, the great reflector of hidden emotions, the keeper of secrets that only the heart can decode. And because of this, you feel the shift in someone's energy before they speak a word. You sense a lie hidden in a smile. You feel danger in the silence between sentences. Some call it being too sensitive. But let's be clear, sensitivity is not weakness. It's accuracy. You've seen the truth behind masks. You've heard the words people were too afraid to say. You've known when someone needed help, even when they insisted they were fine. This is your power, your compass, your inner tide. But sometimes, Cancer, you doubt yourself. You think, maybe I'm imagining it. Maybe I'm overreacting. Maybe I should ignore this feeling. And every time you silence that voice, you lose a little bit of yourself. Because that voice, that quiet knowing, it's your soul speaking. And it's time you started listening. Not just when it screams, but when it hums. Trust when your gut clenches for no reason. Trust when a room suddenly feels cold. Trust when someone's words don't match their eyes. You're not being dramatic. You're being attuned. You don't need evidence when your spirit already knows. Now let's go deeper. Why were you given this gift? Because you're here to protect. to guide, to hold emotional space for others. You are the sanctuary people run to. And to do that, you must see what others miss. But this gift is not just for them. It's for you. When you trust your intuition, if you stop chasing love that doesn't feel right, you stop staying in places that drain your soul. You start choosing people, paths, and purposes that resonate with your energy, not just your logic. It's time to stop asking for permission, to trust yourself. You are not crazy. You are connected to something older, wiser, real. So, the next time your heart whispers, even if your mind doesn't understand, pause, breathe, listen, and then follow it. Cancer, you've spent your whole life caring for others, holding space for their sorrow, building safety in your arms. Even when your own heart was breaking, you are the one who remembers every birthday, who texts, "Are you okay?" when no one else notices the shift. You're the soul who gives without keeping score, the heart that stays when it's hard, the lighthouse for others lost in their storms. But let me ask you this, gently. Who holds you? Who protects you when the world feels too much? Who reminds you to come home? To yourself. Because, dear Cancer, you've been so busy building homes in others that you've forgotten your own address. And maybe that's why you feel tired. Not the kind of tired that sleep can fix, but the kind that comes from abandoning your own needs for too long. So this is your invitation. Come home. Come home to the softness of your own presence, to the quiet peace of not needing to explain your heart, to the deep knowing that your worth is not measured by how much you give, but by the truth of who you are. You are not a fixer. You are not a savior. You are a soul, deserving of tenderness, of stillness, of receiving. Sit with yourself, not to fix or improve, but to simply be. Wrap your own arms around your shoulders and say, "I've got you now. You don't have to keep running. You're safe with me." Because healing doesn't always look like breakthroughs. Sometimes healing is remembering what your laughter sounds like. Sometimes it's saying no without guilt. Sometimes it's turning off your phone and sitting with the silence without needing to fill it. Cancer, your heart is not a house for others to pass through. It's a sacred space. It's yours. Reclaim it. Cleanse it. Light candles in its corners. Hang joy on its walls. And choose starting today to make yourself the home you've been searching for in others. There's nothing selfish about self-love. It's survival. It's sacred. It's the beginning of everything. You came into this world with an open heart, and though the world has tried to harden you, you are still soft, still loving, still brave enough to feel. That is your magic. That is your strength. So, Cancer, as we end this reflection, remember this. You are allowed to be the one who receives. You are allowed to rest. You are allowed to matter, even when no one is watching. Come home, not to a place, but to yourself, the truest place you'll ever belong.